All right, all right. Welcome back to week 16. Technically week 16 and week 17 we're going to cover because Jake and I are going back and forth across the map covering 15 games dating back to June 18th. So before we go on this 15 game road trip this week, Jake, how we doing, bud?
Good, man. We had a good time this past weekend.
hmm
Everyone keeps asking when you're coming back, and I'm starting to feel a tad bit offended. Like, am I not good enough for you assholes?
I'll tell him I'll be back when Sunday League starts back up because that's the one thing I didn't get to enjoy with you guys. But no, I
Yeah.
certainly had a blast both indoor and pickup. So thanks again for hosting. As always with these episodes, we're going to start with a how's your touch. So you ready for a little warm up question?
Let's do it.
All right, so this week's question is inspired by Louisville. Did lose recently, and not a spoiler alert here on some of the coverage, but that ended a regular season across 2 seasons, 19 game unbeaten run. But that prompts the question is, can you name what is the longest single season, so all in the same season, unbeaten streak in the USL? Bonus points if you can name the team or the year that it happened. So the number of games. So it's the longest game unbeaten. Tizer wins.
I am gonna say, can I use a lifeline? Was it one of the MLS two sides?
It was not an MLS two side, but they are now an MLS team.
Oh, Cincinnati.
It is FC Cincinnati. In 2018, they went on a 23 game unbeaten run, 17 wins and six to six, 17 wins and six ties. Um, just a little context. The other two in the top three was the Richmond Kickers had the record at 22 games in 2013, and then in 2016, Louisville City also had a 16 game unbeaten run as well. So nice little history note. Yeah, certainly them losing this week, means we no longer have any undefeated teams in the league. But like I mentioned, we got 15 games to go through. I have eight of the seven, so I'm gonna go first. And we're gonna do a little bit of time traveling. We're gonna go all the way back to June 18th, and that's where we're gonna start our coverage. Was a Wednesday game. Miami hosting Charleston Battery. Miami with a really great win for them, a 1-0 win at home against Charleston. Headline here is Miami bounces back from a loss to Tampa Bay with a huge win at home against Charleston. Um, there's a trend that I'm noticing with Miami and their wins and losses, and I'll get to that on their second game that we cover. But statistically, in this game, Miami 14 total shots, three on target, only 36% of the possession. Charleston 10 shots, four on target, 64% of possession. Um, for Miami, it was Romero in the 51st minute with the goal. And for effort of time, I have some other stuff I'm gonna update like upcoming J Cup games. But both these teams have additional games in our coverage this week, so I'll get to it at that point. So that's that goes all the way back to Wednesday, covering that game. I believe you also have a game from that Wednesday, the 18th?
I did. Um, I don't want to. I don't want to spoil anything. Does your coverage involve Cal Jennings not scoring goals?
It does not, but
Oh,
if you want to mention something about Cal, we certainly can always have that aside. We're
yeah. I
not on
didn't
a
want to have
timer
this.
here.
He hasn't scored since May 24th in any competitions.
Yep.
Crazy. Dry for the month of June.
But I think that you'll see like Charleston hasn't hurt them, and I will mention some of other names in the next in the other game that I'm going to cover with Charleston. So
Okay. Yeah, and I'll just end it with God bless you, Bill Hamid.
he's
Um,
outstanding.
yeah. So we're gonna head to Protective Stadium in Birmingham, Alabama. Uh, they had an attendance of 4,305. I have to cover two Birmingham matches in this podcast. It wasn't that fun.
You
48.
really like you missed covering Ronaldo Damas, right? I mean, you just wanted to
I
talk more about Legion.
I see his face and I still like shiver. Like, oh fuck. 48 to 48 degrees. 48% of the ball, 10 shots, 3 on target, 302 passes for Birmingham. 52% of the ball for Sacramento. Sacramento's playing in this game, by the way. 52% of the ball, 5 shots, 2 on target, 322 passes. Birmingham goes on to win this game 1-0 with a goal from Sebastian Tregarthen in the 90th minute +4. Completely unmarked on this play, by the way. Ridiculous. So, Sacramento stresses me out to talk about. I didn't want to do any stories on them, so I'll talk about someone on their team that doesn't stress me out. So we got another spotlight. This time it's on Sacramento's midfielder, Nick Ross. Born in Iverness, tell me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Iverness, Scotland.
Inverness, yeah.
Inverness, Scotland. Holy fuck. Beautiful fucking place.
That's where Loch Ness is. So like the
Ah.
Loch Ness monster. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So born on the 11th November 1991, which makes me feel old as shit because I, for some reason, thought he was around my age. He is not. Came up in the youth ranks of his local club. Say it one more time for me. Iverness,
Inverness.
Inverness,
Inverness. Yeah.
Inverness Caledonian Thistle. Ended up helping them. I believe he only played like 6 matches in in his inaugural season, but helped them get promoted to the Scottish Premiership in 2009-10 season. Also went on to play for teams like Dundee, still in Scotland, Sepsi OSK in Romania, Brora Rangers, which is a 5th division Scottish team. They were 5th division at that time. I believe he was going through some injury woes. Ended up coming in my opinion, having some of his best performances for my team, El Paso Locomotive, and now he's in Sacramento. Pretty much the main thing I want to say about this guy, he is one of my all-time favorites. Mark Lowry was a big fan of the midfield diamond. He was one of the 2 central midfielders that were just like integral in Lowry's possession-based build-up, and paired really, really well with Richie Ryan, a little Scottish-Irish connection right there. But yeah, just an incredible player. He's played his best football, in my opinion, in America at this USL level. It seems like earlier in his career, he went through a lot of injury struggles, but it's good to see him still going. The way he ended up leaving Locomotive hurt a lot of people here, and it was kind of the beginning of a 3-year run where things weren't so fun. But yeah, that'll finish it up for this match.
All right. So from there, that Wednesday game, we go to last Friday, so the 20th. North Carolina FC hosted Louisville. North Carolina FC with a big 2-1 win. This was a spoiler alert early on that Louisville's win or undefeated streak came to an end. So Louis City's the headline here is Louis City's 19-game regular season unbeaten streak ends at Wake Med Park as North Carolina FC gets revenge for the 2024 playoffs. They did lose at Louisville last year in the playoffs. For this game, a ton of action if you like action, if you will. Combined, they had 32 total shots, but 14 shots, 5 on target for North Carolina, 43% possession. Louisville, 18 total shots, 6 on target, 57% possession. So Sundstrom opened the scoring in the 45th minute to go up 1-0 in the first half, and then right on the other side of halftime, Philip Goodrum, who is kind of on a tear right now, he did have that hat trick last week, gets a goal in the 48th minute, and then Luckhurst gets a goal in the 66th minute. North Carolina hangs on for the win. For North Carolina, I will have another Louisville game somehow. Yeah, I have another Louisville game to cover. So North Carolina's next USL-J Cup match, so Jägermeister Cup, is back this weekend. Jake and I will do another episode. We're talking about possibly maybe doing a live stream for one this weekend if time works out. If not, we will do coverage next week, and hopefully we'll bring back Maiko for that as well, because that was fun last time. But so their next J Cup match is away at none other than Louisville City on the 28th. So lots of Louisville City for North Carolina on the schedule upcoming. All right, so where does that take us to for you next. So I think that actually takes us up to Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Oh no, one more Friday game from the
One more
20th.
Friday game. Okay.
So we're headed to Lexington Stadium. 6,012 people showed up to watch Lexington beat defending champions Colorado Switchbacks lose this match 2-1. 41% of the ball, Lexington beat Colorado Switchbacks 2-1. 41% of the ball, 15-5, and 222 passes for Lexington. 59% of the ball, 22-5, and 327 passes for Colorado Switchbacks. Goals in the 13th minute, Ajago scores. In the 57th minute, you get an own goal by Tyler Clegg, little brother of Bobcats legend Brandon Clegg. Used to call him Clegg the Leg. That dude could kick it so fucking far. 74th minute, Matthew Mahoney gets one back for Colorado, but it's not enough. Both Colorado center backs ended up scoring in this match, except one went in the wrong goal. Storyline for this one is Lex is heating up? Question mark?
Yeah.
2-1 wins in a row for Lexington. They beat New Mexico United last week in a big old upset. Went through the stats, and nothing really sticks out. The own goal in this one and the sort of bang game winner that happened against New Mexico kind of screams lucky. But I'll keep rooting for Lexington regardless. I think it's a fun story, and I like a lot of the players that they have on their team. So keep it up, Lexington.
Absolutely. All right. I was also wrong there. I did have one more game from that Friday. So and kind of another like big shocker here. I don't know what's happening with my camera, why it goes in and out like that. But Hartford hosted Loudoun on Friday the 20th last week and absolutely shit pumped them. 3-0 win. Headline here is Hartford goes unconscious in a dominant win at home against Loudoun United. And when I mean unconscious, they had 21 total shots and 12 of those on target with just 35% of the possession. Just gave it to Loudoun. I mean, who themselves were able to generate 13 total shots, 4 on target. But for goals, Dieng gets a goal early on in the 16th minute, and then Edwards with a penalty in the 43rd, and then another one in the 56th minute, just icing on the cake. Loudoun, they actually do have one other game that we're going to cover here, so I won't spoil it too much, but a little bit of a wobble going on right now for them. The East is very competitive, and while they have looked really good most of the time, this was a very, very stunning result. This is even more shocking than I think seeing Lexington beat New Mexico last week. But looking forward for Hartford. They do have an upcoming game in the Jägermeister Cup. They will be at home hosting Detroit City FC. So, and that is the last Friday game, I believe. That I think that takes us up to Saturday the 21st.
Yes. So we are going to head to Indianapolis, to Michael A. Carroll Stadium. 9,132 people showed up to watch their beloved Indy 11 lose 0-1 to Las Vegas Lights. You're a Midwest guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's at IUPUI, like Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis.
That's right.
What the fuck is that?
That is an Indiana special, is what that is. They also have. I mean, they have lots of vowels. That one for sure.
I mean, is Purdue? I mean, we're getting sidetracked. Never mind. Purdue's private university, or is it public?
It is a public school. It's just a very hard school to get into. A really, really good school. I actually have my wife's grandfather was a Purdue alumni and actually worked for Purdue for a long time. The one in Lafayette or in West Lafayette. That's not IUPUI. But Purdue itself is a very, very nice school. So
Okay. All right. So we got to get into this one because we're going to have a little bit of discussion on it. Like I said, Indy ends up losing 0-1 to Las Vegas Lights, 52% of the ball for Indy. 8 shots, 4 on target, 391 passes for Las Vegas, 48% of the ball, 11-2 with 356 passes. The winning goal in the 90th minute from Nate Pickering. So this is going to lead us into a segment we like to call what WWJD, what would Jimmy do? So it starts off with a long pass from Cam Lindley into a possibly offside. Stefan, oh boy, here we go. Stojanovic, who starts the attack. And 2 defenders sort of close him down, push him into the right side of the box. And then he passes it to a just completely unmarked Pickering, who beats goalkeeper Hunter Schulte near post for the winner. Like you can watch in the replays, like as the free kick or as the long ball goes, you can see Pickering start running towards the net, and you see a Indy midfielder kind of shadowing him, but he's like maybe 8-9 feet off of him. And then by the time the camera picks up Pickering again, that midfielder had like stopped running, I guess, when the 2 defenders closed him down, and then started running again when he realized, like, oh shit, this ball's coming out. So what I want to know is, are we blaming the refs, the 2 defenders, Schulte, a lack of hustle, or all of the above?
So I will say first things first, he was onside. If you go back and see the second angle from behind Indy's goal, when the ball is played, he's actually at midfield. So he is onside. That's first. Second, the defender does a good job of closing down Stojanovic or how you say Stojanovic. Um, and actually he tries to get a shot off, which is blocked, and it bounces right back to him. And when that happens, there's a second defender who comes in towards the middle and is kind of floating in the middle and sort of pinching over towards them. And they both kind of lose the plot. You're right. The ball goes back across to Pickering. And this is where I do have a small issue with the goalie. Is once that ball comes across to him, yes, you are, one-on-one. But also, if you look back, he does have defenders on that left side, or like I guess, yeah, to his left, kind of in the middle of the goal. They're coming across to try to close down Pickering. And when you have those guys there, you have to cheat, and you can't get beat near post, which is where he got beat. Like, right, they just almost curls it in. He's cheating too far, like the ball's coming back, but that's where you have defenders, you have help there. So you need to make sure you do your job and cover that post, and he doesn't. And like that game up to that point, like I did watch the highlight package to that, and like when I first turned on the highlight package, I thought I'd missed something. I had to rewind it twice because literally nothing happens in the first half of that game. Actually nothing really happens in that game until that moment. So a steal of a win for Las Vegas, but yeah, that's super disappointing from the midfielder who did leave Pickering, not thinking that it's gonna make it back to him. And then disappointing from the keeper's perspective to get beat near post on that one.
I mean, I can almost see it like with that guy. Hang on. I can almost see it with that guy. I'm not getting fined. Where he kind of stops running because those 2 defenders are closing down on Stojanovic, and okay, it's the end of the game. Let me stay high up the pitch so they can get me the ball, and then we can make another run and try to win this thing in the end. But there's other guys who can do that job too. Like, just let someone else do that job. You're the closest guy to Pickering. Go get him. But
for sure, you can't let him be free, no matter what you think's gonna happen. It's like, I mean, to your point, like I said, he did try to get the shot off. It just blocked and went right back to him, and that's when he was lucky enough to be able to pick his head up and see Pickering and make that pass. So but yeah, I think errors both from, all the way around on Indy, and actually, they had possession. They actually had a really good opportunity, seconds before Las Vegas broke out. So it's what happens sometimes when you push too hard. They're at home trying to get a win. But yeah, lots of errors there at the end. I'm sure that wasn't a fun film session for those guys. I'm sure with coach the next day. All right. So from there, we go to mighty and glorious Keyworth for a roasty toasty game. Detroit City FC hosting Miami. I was joking with Jake about this when I was down in El Paso last weekend because actually on that Saturday, it was hotter here in Michigan, especially including the humidity than it was where we were in El Paso, which is not often you say that in June. However, headline in this game is Detroit CFC gets their first win in almost 2 months in an absolute scorcher at home versus Miami, and 2-0 is the final score. And this is where I did want to note a trend I'm starting to see with Miami. So like I mentioned, they get an upset win against Charleston, only 36% of the possession. If you look at a lot of their wins recently, especially their surprising ones, they don't need a lot of the ball. They do set up well, and they do well with set pieces. They do well with counterattacks and those sort of things. That's where they tend to score. However, it's when they play a team that lets them have the ball that they don't seem to know what to do with it. So, like in this game, they had 11 total shots, 5 on target. In prime, they had the most of the ball at 52% of the possession, right? Not like if almost a 50-50 split. For Detroit City, even at home, only 6 total shots and only 4 on target, but they made them count when they needed to. Cedeno gets a goal right before halftime, a beautiful curler with the left foot to the far post. And then right at the end of the game, after Miami had gotten a red card on just an absolute horror tackle, Diouf beats his man along the left side, cuts it back across, and beats Hamid for a goal in the 3rd minute stoppage time in the second half. Detroit City really needed this, and especially with Loudon starting to struggle a little bit, it allows them to stay, in the upper half or close to the upper half of the Eastern Conference. So for Jägermeister Cup coming up this weekend, looking forward. Detroit City, like I mentioned, they are away against Hartford, and Miami is away against USL-1 Greenville. So that does it from Detroit. So Jake, where are we headed to next on our adventure here?
So we're heading to Centerville Bank Stadium, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. 7,595 people showed up. I'm not sure why they are showing up. They really don't get to see anything from their team when they show up. Rhode Island goes on to lose this game 0-2 to Sacramento. Rhode Island had 64% of the ball, 6 shots, 2 on target, 451 passes. Sacramento had 36%. 4-3 and 239 passes. You had goals in the 55th minute from Rodrigo Lopez and 63rd minute from Cristian Parano. So just real quick, we'll talk about Sacramento's Jaeger luck. Only time Sacramento's won back-to-back games this season has been when they've played a Jaeger Cup match either before or after their league match. So they had a 1-0 win versus AV Alta and a 1-0 win versus Roots, and then a 5-0 win and a 4-0 win. The 4-0 win in the J Cup versus Las Vegas Lights. Both of those games just beat the shit out of them. So they play Orange County on the 28th, and if this pattern holds, it might be something to pay attention to. But Sacramento having a weird season. Not quite sure what to make of them.
They're definitely talented. They just don't seem to have it all together, so to speak. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's good results for them. The West is just a giant snake eating itself constantly. So we'll see where that shakes out in the season. All right. So from Pawtucket, and honestly, that's a very beautiful river stadium, but not as lovely as the stadium you'll see behind me here. And I do give them a lot of crap so far this season, but I will never knock their stadium. We're heading to Pittsburgh, where they hosted the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Headline here is Tampa continues their woeful season, and this marked a league high 9th loss in their road game against Pittsburgh. They do lose 2-1 here. All 3 goals coming in the first half. For Pittsburgh, more of an offensive, more than an offensive output than they've done recently, but 14 total shots, 6 on target. Actually only had 44% of the possession. Tampa Bay managed 11 total shots, but only 2 of those on target with 56% of the possession. We had an own goal to start the game in the 15th minute. A cross came in, defender facing his own goal, trying to clear it out, and basically like beautifully volleys it into the net. And then Augie Williams, the much maligned Augie Williams, gets a goal in the 20th minute. I didn't look it up, and I should have. I think that might be his first goal for Pittsburgh in the championship this season. Don't quote me on that. I mean, if Jonathan Starling actually listens to this, maybe he'll correct me. I would appreciate it. But the other
Two,
guy,
two
that's his
goals.
second.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Look at that, my teammate right there. And then the other much maligned player, also with his second goal on the season, is Arteaga gets a goal for Tampa Bay in the 40th minute. You think they might be pushing the second half, but uh, just isn't going to happen. So for the Jägermeister Cup coming up this weekend, I'll give a Tampa Bay update here in a minute because they have another game that we're going to cover. But Pittsburgh is at home against Tyler Adams' Westchester Soccer Club.
Nice. Yeah, he hasn't scored since March 8th in a 1-1 draw with North Carolina.
That's why I couldn't remember that he scored, because that's beyond my memory.
Send him to El Paso.
I mean, maybe. You know what? I'd probably know if I didn't have this like long book of manual notes that I'd have to like look back in. Like, this is the only way I can keep track of things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I gotta have my notebook. Yeah, exactly.
The yeah, like I said, send him to El Paso. That compiler, Bob Lilly, he doesn't deserve him. So we're going back to fucking Birmingham. Protective Stadium again. 4,725 people showed up. That's almost 5,000 less.
The biggest stadium in the USL Championship.
And they had almost 5,000 less people than the last game I covered from them. And they still lost 0-1 against Oakland. Just Western Conference showing up and beating the crap out of Birmingham. Lost 0-1 to Oakland. Birmingham had 53% of the ball, 6 shots, 2 on target, 271 passes. 47% of the ball for Oakland, 9 shots, 3 on target, 261 passes. Goal comes in the 55th minute, Kai Green with a penalty. The storyline for this week is Oakland is stingy under Benny Feilhaber. In 3 matches under the new gaffer, Oakland's allowed 1 goal. So you had 0-0 versus El Paso, 0 big chances from El Paso in that match. 0-1 versus Colorado Springs, lost 0-1 versus Colorado Springs. 4 big chances for Colorado in there. 1-0 win over Birmingham, 0 big chances for Birmingham in this game. If someone can figure out how to score, they might pull themselves out of the basement of the Western Conference. But until then, hoping for the best for Oakland.
Yeah, certainly. They haven't they've played more competitively, but I would argue they haven't had like the biggest bounce that you might expect from a new manager, but still like that organization. All right. The next game, and probably I'm gonna highlight this game just because this is one that you and I got to watch most of on Saturday when I was down there. We are headed to Charleston, where they hosted Phoenix in a rematch of the 2023 USL Championship final, which was played at Patriots Point, with Charleston hosting Phoenix. This game, a little bit different result than that championship game where Phoenix did win the title in 2023, but the headline here is Charleston runs Phoenix off the park to bounce back from a loss and avenges the 2023 USL Finals home with a 4-1 win. The stats here are kind of wild. Again, lots of action this week. I mean, lots of outside of the Vegas Indiana game or Indianapolis game, lots of action this week. But Charleston 16 total shots, 8 on target. Only 36% of the possession for Phoenix. 10 total shots, 4 on target, 64% of the possession. And I know you mentioned earlier Cal Jennings hasn't scored. The man who cannot be stopped for Charleston right now, at least as far as scoring goes, is MD Myers. Gets another one here in the 7th minute or in the 8th minute to start the game. Hope Avievu, who we mentioned, one of the biggest creators in the league, then ties it up 1-1 on a beautiful dummy pass coming across, makes it 1-1. And then shortly after that, about 7 minutes later, just a glorious ball from JD Torres into Rodriguez, cuts it in, gets the goal right before half in the 44th minute, adds the second in the 77th minute, and then Husu with calling his shot. Steph Curry from the halfway line gets the goal, icing on the cake, 4-1 win. Big bounce back for Charleston, right, coming off the Miami loss, on Wednesday. They continue to be one of the more dominant teams in the league, and for all the goals that, even though Jennings hasn't scored this month, but the goals that Jennings has scored, the goals that MD Myers is scoring, JD Torres might be the most important player for Charleston, but they are just absolutely deadly in attack. Can beat you in a variety of ways. Spoiler on my power rankings, still the best team in the East as far as I'm concerned. Looking ahead to the Jägermeister Cup this weekend, Charleston is away at South Georgia Tormenta, and Phoenix is also away to USL-1 Texoma FC.
All right, we are headed to. Do I got an echo?
No, that was just me.
Okay. All right, yeah. So we're headed into the wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Albuquerque, New Mexico. Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park. Get over yourselves. 9,801 people showed up to watch their New Mexico United win 4-2 over San Antonio Football Club. 59% of the ball for New Mexico, 12 shots, 8 on target, 316 passes. 41% of the ball for San Antonio, 8 shots, 4 on target, 192 passes. So this was a relatively back and forth game. New Mexico's Jalen Lindsay scores in the 10th minute. San Antonio's Mitchell Tainter scores a penalty in the 54th minute. In the 59th minute, New Mexico gets one back. Mukwele Akale. 75th minute, San Antonio scores again. Reese Buckmaster. And then New Mexico went crazy in extra time. 90+1, Luis Nascimento gets the winner. And in the 90+3, Marlon Vargas puts the cherry on top. This was a terrible match for San Antonio goalkeeper Richard Sanchez. Spilled one that ended up being a goal. I know how that feels. Jimmy saw me do that at pickup. And probably should have blocked 2 others. Real bad game for him. Fix your mustache too. Storyline. How are San Antonio 4th? 20 goals this season in league play. 9 are from dead balls, 4 set piece, 5 penalties. Average in almost every stat, except for their 41 yellows, which ranks 3rd in the league. So they are just a bang average club that score from corner kicks all the time. And I understand the West eating itself, the idea of that, but like they just don't seem like they're that good. But what do I know?
Like you say they're in 4th, but they're really tied for 3rd with FC Tulsa, even though they have played 2 more games, only a point ahead of Phoenix Rising. Only 2 points ahead of Monterey Bay. I mean, they're only really 5 points away from being outside of a playoff spot. So yes, they are bang average, but sometimes that's enough, especially in the West. So I mean, there's a lot of games still left to be played. So we'll see. I think stats tend to play their way out, right? And I think that the teams that deserve it will end up being there. We're gonna do a little bit of quick time warping because my next 2 games are actually happened yesterday. So we're gonna jump up to last night for a top of the East battle between Loudoun United hosting Louisville. Loudoun again coming off of a very shocking 3-0 loss away at Hartford. you figure they're at home, that, Louisville's coming off of their first loss. This might be an opportunity to, bounce back and really take hold of their destiny in the East. And the headline is back-to-back big losses for Loudoun um, comes as the season and the weather begin to heat up for them. It's a 4-1 thumping. So if you're counting at home, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 goal for, 7 goals against in the last 2 games for Loudoun. This one hurts even more because it's at Segra Field. Not that that's a dominant home venue considering their pretty low attendance. But still, you would hope that they would show up more. The stat lines in this one is actually wild. I don't think I've ever seen something uh this wide before. Like, so again, I mentioned Louisville won this game 4-1, but they did so with only 8 shots total and only 4 on target. So that means, yeah, that's right. Loudon didn't make a single save. Every shot on target was a goal. Actually, one of them's an own goal, so that might not count. But and then Louisville only had 24% of the possession. For Loudon, 12 total shots, 4 on target, 76% of the possession. They did get a red card. Loudon did it at the end of the first half, but it was 1-1 going into halftime. So we had a penalty goal from Abukora, again having a fantastic season. They get a PK in the 32nd minute to tie it up. Louisville had scored through Moguel. I think I'm saying that right, Moguel Jr. in the 25th minute. But then, again, they went into halftime with that red card at 1-1 in the second half. Louisville just took care of business. They had an own goal from Loudon in the 57th minute, and then Wilson scores in the 78th minute, and Serrano puts the icing on the cake in the first minute stoppage time. So Loudon, they are still they've still been very much a very entertaining team. The last 2 games have been rough on them. It's nice that they have the Jägermeister Cup coming up to sort of separate themselves and reset themselves for the championship. Uh, for both teams and the Jägermeister Cup, Loudon is at home against USL League One Charlotte, and then Louisville is at home against North Carolina FC.
I was muted.
Of course you were.
How bad was the red card?
Honestly, I can't remember. I'm still thinking of the red card from the DCFC game. So
Yeah.
I had 8 games. You're asking a lot from an old man to remember. But it did really change that game. Like I said, Loudon, even with that red card, statistically dominated the game. But Louisville has been doing this all season, and I've been kind of talking about that, where they don't need to dominate possession; they just win games anyway. The only time it bit them in the ass was, that game against North Carolina. So Louisville is back on it. They are on a 1-game unbeaten streak, Jake. So.
All right. So we are heading to Northern California, Cardinal Stadium. 3,257 people showed up. I talked about this game last week, sort of in my discussions, saying this might not necessarily be a get-right game for El Paso, because despite Monterey Bay's scoring drought or scoring inefficiencies, they're still very, very sound defensively. But I was wrong. El Paso got right. Monterey Bay ended up losing this game 1-2. 46% of the ball from Monterey Bay, 12 and 6 for shots, 262 passes. El Paso had 54% of the ball, 11 shots, 4 on target, 318 passes. So 15th minute, El Paso's Wahab Akwe gets a goal. Center back getting all the way up for this one. 56th minute, Andy Cabrera, my boy, scores a penalty, draws the penalty and scores the penalty. And Luke Ivanovic in the 60th minute gets one back for Monterey Bay. They have a chance late in the game. I know some Monterey Bay fans were not happy with the reffing. Sebastian Moramora, the goalkeeper for El Paso, kind of being a bit of a shithouse in this match, but he ends up making a pretty good save towards the end of this game, pretty much on the last play, actually, of this game. So In lieu of a storyline, something that we briefly discussed while you were here, and I just kind of want to make this a Jimmy and Jake fix soccer moment. So the storyline is make the stutter step on penalty kicks illegal. My team did score this goal. A good penalty within the rules, obviously. Andy comes up on it, sort of stops, and then immediately goes again and scores on him. I just don't like it. I mean, it's already as we were saying there. We can make our feelings public, I guess, but it's just not fair. Like, it's already hard enough to be a goalie in that situation, and if you'll indulge me, I have a way to fix it.
Go on.
Penalties should be done in the 90s MLS style.
I can't support that, but I understand your desire for it. I don't think that is the answer in my opinion, but I certainly echo your sentiment that it very much feels like the rules that they've put in, like, and I think I said this to you, or it feels like the NFL, right? Like, soccer wants scoring, so all of the advantage is given to the shooting player, and all of the disadvantage, like they will absolutely, if you're a millimeter off the line, they will make that kick re-happen even if you save it. Versus, I mean, they're not supposed to stop, but like, I mean, to quote from Horrible Bosses, like, that's not a pause, that's a fucking moment of silence. Like, where they just like freeze in time and then keep going. Like
Yeah.
that, it's ridiculous. And it's already like, I don't want to hear like how hard it is to take PKs. Like, try saving one. Like,
Yeah.
you're 12 yards away from guys that are professional players that can lace the ball. Like, and the idea that like some of the goalies somehow garnering some advantage. They want to see more goals. I don't have an answer. I can't condone, not for outdoor. I can't condone the 90s MLS style dribbling. Yeah, you're on your own ledge on that one. Maybe for
It,
USL, you know what, like USL, if there was a league to do it, that would be the one to do it, I guess. But I mean, leave it out of the Premier League and the World Cup for me. So
I mean, can you imagine that though? Like Thibaut Courtois versus Lewandowski in that style of penalty shootout. That would be fun.
sure, if you say so. It's a
I
terrible. Like, I mean, this wasn't to finish the game, right? This was in
Yeah.
the course of the game.
Yeah.
And honestly, because a foul happens in the box, it should be easier for the person to score, because if a foul happens in the box, it's supposed to be like not always a denial goal scoring opportunity, but you shouldn't be committing fouls there. That
Yeah.
having been said, I don't know. I think it would be fun in like a charity match or like an all-star game. Like, sure, I'd
Yeah.
love to see Lewandowski and Kuta, but like, I can't condone it in the course of a game.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Just
you're
just
allowed. You're Go ahead.
just eliminate the stutter.
Uh,
Like, I would say that like if I was going to change the rule, I guess I would make it that you have 3 steps before you have to shoot. Like, eliminate the run-ups. That'd be my ass. Like, they don't need them. It's extra. It's unnecessary, and I'm probably just a cranky goalie. But eliminate the run-ups. Make it 3 steps. You have to anything over 3 steps is illegal. That would be my fix, I guess.
yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I think it should be 90s MLS, but I mean, you're allowed to be wrong about it, I guess.
If there's a league that's going to do it, like, I'll support it in the USL. Like I said.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, were you good on El Paso?
Yeah, that's it.
Good,
Good win. Good win.
great win, great win.
Yeah.
Takes him up to second place in the West. They're having an excellent season. Uh, I know that you're going to call your boy at the ticket office and take, oh, not that boy, your boy at the
Oh.
ticket office, and take care of them season
Oh.
tickets for next year.
Well, I gotta take care of my jersey. He's up to 12 goal involvements now.
Yeah, yeah, and the playoffs are coming. At
Yeah.
least the way they've been playing. All right, last game. And again, this game from last night. Um, Tampa Bay hosting the Indy 11. Indy 11, coming off of that disappointing loss at home to Las Vegas. Headline here is Tampa Bay is on fire. 2 wins from 3 games as they finally beat someone not named Miami FC. 3-1 win at home here against Indy. Tampa Bay with 11 total shots, 6 on target, 44% possession. Indy with 16 total shots, 5 only on target, 56% of possession. Indy actually scored first through Foster in the first minute of stoppage time, went into halftime 1-0, and then Tampa Bay finally woke up. Bodily in the 60th minute, Moon in the 69th minute, and Waikiki in the 90th minute, 90 plus 3 in stoppage time. So a great win from them. Not any of the guys that like, not a Bassett, not a Arteaga, not a Passius, right? The guys that have been scoring, like they're getting it from other guys. So really, really good for them. It takes them out of last place in the East. They move ahead of Hartford. And honestly, they've had a decent showing in the J Cup, which Tampa Bay, actually their next Jägermeister game isn't until July 4th. They are away at FC Naples, who has also been looking really good in USL League One, so that should be fun. Another quote unquote Battle of Florida. I'm sure our friends on Beyond the 90, Kartik, loves covering Florida games. He's a Florida guy, so I'm sure they'll have lots of info on there. Check that out. And then for Indy, they do play at home against Jake's favorite Eastern Conference team, Birmingham Legion. So that is all 15 games going back from the 18th up until last night. So lots to cover there. And like I mentioned, we do have the Jägermeister Cup coming up this weekend. It is a very fun competition with the two divisions competing this year. So definitely check that out. If we decide to do a live stream, we'll try to make sure we post like an update on Beyond the 90s so you guys can check that out there. Um, but outside of that, Jake, who do you got for the Canardo Forbes Player of the Week?
Okay, so I know I gave crap to Philip Goodrum last week. Ended up yanking his award out from under him and giving it to his teammate who did more of the work. But this player, just a straight up striker performance, and the win was crazy too. Canardo Forbes Player of the Week award is going to Kyle Edwards of Hartford in the 3-0 win versus Loudoun. 68 minutes, 2 goals. One of them was a penalty. 7 of 11 on passes, 6 shots, 3 on target, 6 touches in the box. And he's from a place that I just discovered today, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which sounds like a fucking like funk band from the 70s.
Yeah, I remember whenever I saw grenadines, I always thought of like the grenadine syrup, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what I always thought of. But like outside of that, the only time I ever heard of that was the rich old guys that used to work with at Pfizer loved to go there on vacation for some reason. So all right, so uh headline here, we have a new leader in the clubhouse for the Nate Steinwasser Gold Glove Watch. And it's not the guy I teased the last week, and it's not obviously it's not our boy Nico Campuzano. Giving up 2 goals against El Paso. He's trying his best, but for this week, I have to go with the stats and the results for the team. This team is averaging only 1 goal against for like the last 4 games. He is tied for 5th with 36 saves on the season, and tied for. I'm sorry, he is 5th with 36 saves on the season. He's tied for 2nd with 5 shutouts in the season. It is Damian Lass from Louisville City FC. He doesn't get a lot of flowers, but honestly, like I mentioned, Louisville isn't exactly dominating so much on the statistics for the season. They just happen to be getting wins. and he is a huge part of that, like making big saves, keeping that defense organized. And so I got to give him his flowers. He moves up into the favorite right now this week for the Nate Steinwasser Gold Glove watch. All right, so what do you got? Anything else you want to cover? You got a rant? You got a Jimmy and
Well, no,
Jake pick soccer?
I had a question. I was going through save percentage, and I didn't realize that. What's his name? Johan Penaranda
Mm.
having a pretty good season too. I give a lot of credit to Tulsa's back line, but what is it?
That is the
10
only.
games for him.
Yeah, that's the only reason that he isn't. One of the big reasons he isn't Spurs is that the defense in front of him, and like, here's the thing. As a goalie, I recognize how hard this is, but he doesn't actually face a ton of shots, and the ones
Yeah.
he does save at a high percentage. So hats off to him. It is hard to stay engaged in a game. Sometimes you're actually more engaged and playing better when you're facing 14, 15 shots a game versus only seeing like, 6 or 7 shots. It's hard to stay engaged. So I definitely looked at him long and hard. And maybe if some of the if some other stats change throughout the season, he moves into that spot. But he's on the OLI for sure.
Okay. And then last bit of business. Sunday, US plays Costa Rica. I don't necessarily care about that game, but if US does end up playing Canada, and you guys, all 13 of the people who watched the video last week, if you guys want to watch a live stream with Mike, Jimmy, and myself watching the US men's national team probably lose to Canada, let us know. We'll find time for that. Gold Cup's taking a long ass time. When was the last time the US played?
I don't know, man. I actually haven't watched any of the US games. I didn't watch the last game for Canada, but uh that's really the only Gold Cup coverage I've watched is the Canada game. So
Yeah, they gave them 7 games off, or 7 days off for this next match. So, yep, US still doing their thing. Let's go see team.
they're doing something for sure. All right, buddy. Well, hey, like I said, we got Jägermeister Cup coming this weekend. Check that out.
Yeah.
Check out all our other friends on Beyond the 90. Lots of really good coverage from all leagues and levels on there. It's definitely worth following. Even if it's not for us, if it's for somebody else, check it out. So until next week, until maybe you join us on one of our over promised and maybe under delivered live streams. I hope everyone has a good week. And Jake, adios, buddy.
Later, dude.